Hello everyone, and welcome to or back to the channel. I'm Origin Gaming, and in this video we're going to be beating the first level of Metro Exodus, Moscow, on Ranger Hardcore difficulty and with Iron Mode enabled. Iron Mode is a form of permadeath challenge where you are unable to save throughout the level and can only get a checkpoint at the end of each mission, compared to most of the other more open-ended missions in Metro Exodus. The Moscow mission is fairly short and easy to complete. The only problem with this mission, at least when you're doing an Iron Mode run, is that a huge chunk of the level is made up of unskippable cutscenes. These are really cool and cinematic the first time you're going through the level, but if you make a mistake late in the level, as I did a few times before this run, then you have to completely rewatch all of those cutscenes again, and you spend much more time waiting through those cutscenes than you do actually playing the game. Either way, after a few failed attempts, I had this successful run. The mission begins with Artyom returning to the sewers after once again going up to the surface in hopes of finding other life out in the world. After killing the watchman that jump scared me, I ran past the rest of them until I could get to this big metal door. Unfortunately, there were watchmen on the other side of the door as well. Thankfully, my Spartan buddies rescued me in the nick of time before carrying me back to heal me up in the medbay and then get yelled at by my father-in-law.
Hello, Alex. There you are, you stubborn fool. How many times are we going to have this conversation? I don't care if you kill yourself over this silly dream of yours, but don't you see what you're doing to my daughter? Your wife?
After getting a stern talking to, I immediately disobeyed orders and went back outside again, doubling down on trying to make the colonel angry by bringing Anna as well.
Let's go in turns here. It's not stable enough. Your turn now.
After making our way back down the crumbling building, Anna and I dealt with a group of watchmen that tried to ambush us. We then headed outside and hid behind this bus, where we allowed a much larger pack of watchmen to pass over us rather than attempting to fight them.
He's here. So, do we turn this place into Thermopylae, or do we let them pass? Wait it out. Looks like that was all of them. I'm glad they didn't notice us. That was a large pack.
We continued forward, climbing our way up on top of this overpass, where we were able to get a view of a nearby speeding train.
I got you.
Something that neither Anna or Artyom had seen on the surface before.
Over here! Let's switch to radios! Look! It's our guys for the others! Looks like they're chasing that train too! Let's join them!
Unfortunately, it was not our friends from the Order, but instead a group of Hansa officers that ended up smacking me in the face and eventually shooting me, leaving me for dead in this pit. After remembering that he's the main character, Artyom simply gets up and continues forward, because even if he had survived the bullet, which is explained later to have been stopped by Hunter's dog tag, he probably should have been seriously injured by falling that distance directly onto his spine. Regardless, after making my way through some of the tunnels, I came to this room where I met Yermak, a train engineer who offered to help Anna and I escape. This leads us into the first major stealth section of the game, although this one is pretty straightforward because Yermak pretty much walks you through how to do it step by step.
Don't rush though. If they notice you, we're both done for. Wait.
As soon as you make your way into the room, you come over to this panel to turn the lights off. Then all you have to do is crouch and make your way around this corner and hug the wall until you make it to the ladder at the far end. I don't know why the guy on the left doesn't see you out of his peripheral vision, but either way, I made it up the ladder safely. Once you're up top, you have to crawl under this air vent and make your way towards the guy at the far end, sneaking up behind him and knocking him unconscious. Then you turn off the light to make sure nobody can see that he's not working anymore. After that, you're instructed by Yermak to throw a decoy at the fan over there to distract the guard on the other ledge. After I made it through the door following Yermak, I had officially completed the first stealth section of the game, although the ones in the future are going to get a lot harder than that one. I then kicked the door down and ran into the next room, where I saved Anna, who was being held captive by 2 soldiers. After this scuffle, Anna and Artyom learn that the purpose of this base is actually to house a radio jammer, preventing any and all radio signals from coming in or out of Moscow. Yermak meets back up with us and explains the plan. After making our way outside and helping Anna up onto the roof so she can provide cover fire in case anything goes wrong, I make it into the next major stealth section, and the first one that has any real difficulty to it. Even with Anna's cover fire from above, trying to fight all of these enemies head-on would be a terrible idea. So I instead follow this exact route to make my way stealthily through the base that I've learned from playing this mission several times in the past. First, you can loot a couple of materials and filters from these containers over here, and then you make your way over the sandbags and crates into the next section. Once you are on the other side, you cannot try and take out the guard working on the circuit box or climb up the ladder immediately, because you will be seen by the other person he's talking to. So instead, you have to wait until his conversation is done and then make your way up the ladder. Don't bother trying to take that guy down, because in my experience, if you do that, you still end up getting caught. Once I heard the guy on the circuit board tell the other guy to go back to patrolling, I knew I was safe to make my way past him and climb up the ladder. On top of the tower, I found a couple of throwing knives and another gas mask filter. I then made my way across this platform and waited for the guy on the other side in the other tower to be facing the opposite direction. Then I crawled under the section here to take out the guard on the opposite tower with a throwing knife. Something to remember if you happen to try this challenge yourself: on Full Dive Ranger Hardcore difficulty, you need to make sure you actually selected the throwing knives before you try and throw them, as my first attempt at this level ended when I accidentally threw a decoy at him instead. Since you don't have a crosshair, it's easier to aim at him with the revolver and then press your button to throw the throwing knife. I put out the fire and grabbed my knife back from the guy before grabbing a few other things and making my way down the ladder. Once I'm down at the bottom, I only have one more guy that I have to get past. So I hug the wall over to around this section right here, where I hide behind the view of the tires and wait for him to turn around, going back in the other direction. Once he does turn around, I carefully make my way down the corridor, hiding behind the piles of tires and eventually moving through the crates. Once the guard has turned around once again, I make my way through the last little bit right here and climb through the small hole in the wall, finishing the first real stealth section that you need to be careful not to mess up.
Great job, Artyom.
After looting that room, I move into the next one, which is another stealth section. This one is fairly straightforward. After the guy goes down the ladder, I moved forward and turned off the lantern. Next, I moved forward and turned off the lantern before hiding behind these boxes while I waited for the guys to finish their conversation.
You say so. Still, this is suspicious. You do your thing and I'll just stay here, just in case.
After they're done talking, I take both of them out in quick succession with throwing knives and turn off the lantern. Then I just had to take down this guy with a throwing knife, and then I moved forward through the crate, turning off the light along the way, before waiting a bit and then dealing with the last guy who was interrogating Yermak.
Group D, redeploy to the wind turbine zone.
Aha, you can sneak ahead. No need to play heroes for a change. Let's wait till they walk off.
I repeat, Group D redeploy to the wind turbine zone immediately. Group B is under heavy attack from Watchmen.
You only had an outing planned for tomorrow, and it's bound to be cancelled now.
After taking down that guy, I was able to free Yermak and move into the next section, the first section that I had to actually fight people head-on with guns. These sections are often the most dangerous during this challenge run, because even a few stray bullets can take you down and completely restart the mission. Thankfully, this section isn't too hard though, because since Anna is invincible and has unlimited ammo, I just kinda let her take the lead and follow behind picking up the stragglers. I then moved on to loot everything I could find in the room, as the next section doesn't begin until you flip the switch on the turntable. Then all I did was hide behind the lockers and wait for the next section, because you don't actually have to fight back against any of those guys.
Don't let go, Artyom! That was intense. Are you okay?
There's a manual drive on the platform. It's hard to
Artyom?
This section is also fairly short and easy, especially with Anna's help. With as cinematic as this whole section is, I do find this move quite funny, as I have no idea how Anna knocks the guy unconscious by doing that.
More guards! Get them!
Either way, after dealing with the last few guards, we turn the wheel and get the train moving.
Let's do this together. Just a little. Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately, our little celebration is cut short by some flashbangs coming in through the window, and we realize we've been captured again. But to make a long story short, we find out that it's actually Miller and the other Spartans that busted onto the train, and now we're all going to be on the run as deserters.
Can't go back to Moscow now.
Our plan to escape without being noticed doesn't exactly go so well, as we're chased down by a Hansa train that starts opening fire on us.
Come out with your hands above your head.
After being voluntold by the colonel, I grab some plastic explosives and jump over to the other train to take it down, allowing us to escape.
Out of town for it until the excitement quiets down. And you just opened fire. Will you let us go if we stop?
Upon first getting on the other train, I looted a couple of things and then made my way to the outside of the train, crawling along this section here until I made it down to the end where I was able to knock out one of the guards and sneak in through the window that he was next to.
But the verdict has already been passed. We won't even see it.
I'm now noticing, after pointing out Anna's strange knockout earlier, that this probably shouldn't have knocked him out either. There's not that much force going into it, and he has a helmet on. After making it past that first train car, I tried to detach it from the train, but accidentally ended up hitting the prompt on the door to go through rather than on the red lever. Not that it really matters, as I already have the achievement for disconnecting each of the train sections, but I usually do it anyways. The second train car is very straightforward. All you do is hug the wall to the far right here and slide your way all the way down until you make it to the end.
We are slowing down. The brakes on this thing are busted. Don't sweat it, Colonel. My people will help you handle it.
After making it to the end, I did go and disconnect the train car just for fun. After that, I moved into the final train car, which is in my opinion the hardest part of the entire mission. Because it's such a small area and you're forced to be in close proximity with the enemies, it's very easy to catch a couple of stray bullets and get killed. After dying in this room a few times and being forced to restart the entire mission, I found that the most effective way to do it is to use throwing knives and the revolver to take out the enemies in the first section, so that the enemies in the next room don't come to try and attack you until you're ready for them. Then I just tried my best to keep my distance from the enemies and take them out from afar.
A bullet for each of you. I'm shooting you personally. Forget about visual target. Next quick, cheese out of the thing. Fire at will.
At this moment, I got hit and nearly died, just as I did in the previous few runs, but for some reason this time I survived, even though I probably got hit with about the same number of bullets. After it looked like the coast was clear, I made my way into the next room cautiously, making sure to check around corners so that there were no stragglers left behind that could sneak up behind me as I was going through, getting ready to plant the bomb.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! I'm just a stalker. I'm not with them. They made me. Just don't shoot!
Artyom, place the bomb as close to the boiler as you can.
And after all that, I had finally completed the first mission of Metro Exodus on Ranger Hardcore difficulty with Iron Mode enabled, receiving my first checkpoint of the run. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and if you'd like to see more of this series as I take on these missions one at a time, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Thank goodness you're okay.
Now we are not just traitors. We are honest-to-God enemy saboteurs.